When I say coffee, what's the first thing that comes to mind? What brand?
Oh, Dunkin' Donuts?
Is Dunkin' Donuts the best coffee?
No.
Exactly. But it's one of the most well-known. You see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So while it matters a lot to make sure that you become great at delivering the service and making sure that the customers are happy and whatnot, it's equally, or actually in my opinion, even 70% more important to make sure that you know how to become known, right? Are you familiar with the know and trust factor? So in order for someone to buy from you, they first need to know you. Then once a number of people know you, they'll like you from a business standpoint, right? I'm not talking personal, I mean personal too. But know, like, and trust. So, a number of people will have to know you, they have to find out about you through social, through word of mouth, through foot traffic, right? All kinds of different things. We'll talk about that. Then from there, some people will like you, some people will not. That's totally fine. You're never going to be able to have everybody happy. And then a number of people from the crowd will trust you enough to give you money to become your client, right? So that's pretty much, in a nutshell, the know, like, and trust factor. Now, well, first, now that you're familiar with it, tell me, what do you do? What did you think was your goal coming into this? What's your goal now? Has it changed? Has it not?
I'm a recently licensed cosmetologist. I got licensed last year. I've been working at my restaurant job as a server at night just to have some side money while I was in school. And then I got my license at the end of last year, and I spent the first 2 months of this year mainly working and then trying to find a good lash school or esthetician school or both in one to complete more of my cosmetology training.
What's the, because it's a big sphere. It's one industry, right? Like beauty. I call it. I don't call it. It's the beauty industry, but then it's a big umbrella. But then it has a lot of small niches. It can be lash artist, eyebrows, makeup, like a lot of different things. I am, and Cosmina can confirm this, I'm really against having multiple services if you're a one-person show at first. And the reason for that is it's hard enough from a messaging standpoint to just dial in one. Now, what you can do, and I'll give you exactly what strategy I came up with when it comes to lashes for my wife, for Cosmina. And this happened during COVID. So it happened almost like a necessity, right? So my first business was a moving and storage company. I've acquired 3-4 moving companies that I merged into one. Cosmina, before this, she used to run a cleaning company. And then what I did when she said, well, I'm done with this, I don't want to have employees anymore, right? So first, it's a process of auditing yourself, because I know in theory it might make sense to say, well, if a person comes for lashes, I can also offer her eyebrows, I can offer maybe makeup or eyelid, hair, whatever, like nails, all kinds of, there's so many different things, right? But the problem with that is, again, it comes down to messaging. It's really difficult in today's day and age. While, you have to inspect a little bit, do a little market research, look at the competition, figuring out what's going to be the path that you're going to take in terms of, are you going to do it out of your living room? Are you going to rent a space? And then it's a numbers game in there too, right? But to dial in the message for one service alone, it takes a while, because you have to really understand who's going to be the ideal client, right? Now, once you're established, then you can decide. So going back to what I said, when COVID hit, we already sold the cleaning company? Yeah, we have. Yeah, because the salon was already open. So beauty services were the first to shut down, right? Why? Because, and I did this exercise with a student last week. What do you think? Do people need lashes?
Nope, I saw this.
Saw the video?
Absolutely not.
And this applies to most of the beauty services. That's
Oh
why,
yeah, absolutely.
thinking back to COVID, that's why they shut down, because most of these services, because they were not deemed essential. They're pretty much it's a luxury service. However, the beauty of it is the fact that you guys have a lot of. It's almost like a subscription model, right?
Mhm.
Now you think about my barber. I get a haircut every week. Like the guy, literally every single week, he
Does your
knows.
hair grow that fast, or you want it?
I know I can't handle, like, once I get.
That's how my dad is. I have to do him every single
I
week.
cannot. Like, when I feel a little bit of hair above my ears, I'm like, I'm done. I have to. Like, I gotta shave it.
So
But
high maintenance.
yeah, going back to it, but it's a good business for him. I'm a
Absolutely.
good client for him, because I'm one of the guys that I have. I like to be fresh all the time. Anyway, my point is, in my first company, the moving and storage company, a person moves once every 10 years ish, between 5 and 10 years. However, we pay the same amount from a client acquisition standpoint to acquire a client, but we don't get to serve that client until probably 5, 10 years down the line.
Yeah.
Now, in that time frame, we have and this came with time, with experience, trial and error, referral programs, right? Because we realized, damn, we're paying a lot to get customers in. Google AdWords, Facebook ads, Instagram ads, sponsoring events, like having a booth at an event so you can get your name, right?
Yeah.
The problem was, we realized 2-3 years down the line, we were just having to shop for new clients.
Mm-hmm.
In the beauty, especially in lashes, you
That's
sell
understandable.
one set, they have to refill every 2 weeks ish, right?
Mhm.
2 weeks, 3 weeks, depending
Yeah.
how the
Retention.
which person, retention, how the hair grows, whatever. So that's a beautiful thing. You acquire a client once, as long as you do a great job to serve the person, to make it happy. Now, the challenge becomes for you to know when to take the hat of a lash tech off and put the sales hat back on. Because you should not let the client leave the salon without offering an incentive to book the refill. I'm saying incentive because at first you're going to have to build your clientele, your client base.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to take a while, right? But you should not, you have to understand, being able to master sales. And I know when I say sales, typically 90% of us, we think of car dealership salespeople that are like salesy and like
Yeah.
hard, But no, in this case, if you're doing a great job, you're doing a disservice to the client if you're not offering a refill, because somebody else might
Yeah,
end up
take your money.
exactly, and that person might not do a better job than you. So why not offer that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, at first, again, you said you're working nights, so you have the full day available.
Usually, yeah.
All right, and what's your plan, or what was the plan coming into this? What's the plan now? Has it changed?
I was gonna try and get a salon job. Hopefully, I have a place in Woburn that I applied for. That was looking for someone who's doing both hair and lashes. So that's why I come out for.
To get certified so they can.
Yeah, but since then, that woman's POS. So.
So have you got in touch with them already, or you just applied like through Indeed or whatever?
I had applied, I talked to her, and then she was like, once you get your lash certification, come back and talk to me. And when I started talking with Cosmina, I went back to her, and I have yet to hear from her. So.
Got it. So I have a couple of tips. It's up to you if you want to implement them or not. Because I don't necessarily do the hiring for like the salon or anything, but I employ every summer. Right now, we just interviewed more than 30 people in a matter of a couple of days for the summertime, because we have to bring a lot of people from overseas. Anyway, in order to stand out when you apply to a job, you have to go really against to what the person, because typically if you call and ask them, like, hey, you guys hiring or whatever, or if you go straight to Indeed, what's that actually doing? You're putting yourself in the same boat with 1,000 other people.
Yeah.
You're not differentiating yourself at all.
Okay.
How do you do it? How's your social presence?
Oh, I think I have great social presence.
Okay.
I love talking to people.
Towards this industry?
Oh,
Towards lashes? So you've
Lashes specifically, I think that I'd have to work on just because I'm working on the technique and everything while I'm doing it. But like when I'm doing hair and stuff, it's very.
Oh, you already do hair.
Yes.
So your accounts are optimized towards hair.
It's
I'm talking
not-
about mainly Instagram, Facebook to a point, but also TikTok. How you doing videos?
I never did any social media. It was I went to school and then it was this girl actually came in. I did her prom hair 3 times last year at my school, and she just ended up starting telling people. And it was never like I had a lack of clients when I got out of school.
Nice.
So I never went into Instagram or TikTok or anything. So now when I started this, I did.
You got comfy because you got all that
Yeah.
referral. So how are you still doing hair? Are you still getting the okay? So then when you said you applied to this place in Woburn, you applied as a hairstylist?
Hairstylist and lash.
And lash tech? You're gonna have to decide a little bit. Not a bad idea to get a job at a salon, especially if you can do both or a little bit of both.
It was more of they were looking for a lash artist, but it would help if that lash artist also had
experience doing hair.
Yeah.
Your hair clients during that time, so it was not a big deal. So the way you would differentiate yourself, you have to really put in. I would say in 2 days you should be good enough as long as you have some footage.
Mm-hmm.
When I say footage, some before and after photos. Ideally, you can collect. I'm pretty sure if you go back to your top 3 clients to get some 5-star reviews or ideally testimonials, like video testimonials. You probably looked on Cosmina's.
Yes, I saw a few.
I guarantee you that there's no one other lash trainer in the entire United States that has as many video testimonials as her, and probably another 20 that are not even edited. Probably more than 20 that are still currently being edited to be added.
Oh, wow.
So if you look on the page, I don't know, how did you find out about?
On Google.
Google.
Yeah.
See? So that's going to apply, and actually this applies to you even currently if you plan to continue doing hair. You shouldn't think of yourself, because I know you something that I remembered. You said, I work at a restaurant so I can make some money on the side. You haven't even mentioned about doing hair. You have to train yourself, whatever you want to do moving forward. It can be both. It can be hair and lashes. I know I said, I'm against trying to do both. In your case, it's different. You already work as a hair stylist, and then now you try lashes. So you see if you want to continue. Yeah. Maybe it's just maybe lashes becomes full-time and hair becomes part-time, or the other way around. There's nothing wrong. There's no right or wrong answer. It's what's right for you at this current time. In a year, if we talk, your goal can change. That's fine.
Oh, yeah.
It's life. Like it's not, nothing that's locked in stone. But when I asked you, what do you do now? You should have said, I'm doing hair and I have a part-time job as a server.
But I'm not doing hair as full-time.
Exactly. But it doesn't matter if you're planning to do, or if that's the goal to maybe continuing, you have to train yourself. The reason that I say that is, let's say you go to some event, business event. Maybe it's a real estate event, whatever. Because you have to think of who's the ideal client for hair. Actually, let me ask you this. Do you know who's your current ideal client for hair? Like, what's the avatar of that person? How much do you charge for hair?
It depends on the service.
Roughly, in average. But
roughly like 30 to 60 per service.
$30 to $60? When you say hair, is it like just cutting
hair?
It's
not. Most of the things that I'm doing are like updos and curling, some occasional cuts, but like my thing that I specialize in is doing updos for like proms, weddings. I've done so many weddings, so many proms, stuff like that.
And if those people would go to the salon, how much would they pay?
$200 or more.
And you decided to charge that low because how long have you been doing it for?
I've been in the business for probably like a year and a half, but I've only been licensed for like 6 or 7 months.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. It's totally fine to start, lower. One, you build your confidence. You kind of get trained to cut hair, getting paid pretty much, right? And that's exactly how I look at if you're trying to get a job at a salon. for the sake of you're pretty much being paid to get experience.
Yeah.
It's never a bad, it's never a bad idea to do that. And it really depends what kind of NDA they will make you sign in terms of, or not to compete, not NDA, like not to compete, meaning when you leave from there, they might make you sign, even though in Massachusetts now the law has changed. So if you are being told by one of the salons, hey, you have to sign these not to compete agreements, that means they know that you can leave at any point in time. And typically when a great hairstylist, lash tech, whatever, leaves from a salon, they typically leave with the entire clientele with them.
Yeah.
So, they know about that. Now, I'm not saying to do that, like to have that in the back of your mind, like to make that the goal, because it's not, karma sucks. Because you think like, hey, what if you become big and you have a salon and then, you get hit with the same thing. However, you can be upfront and tell them, hey, you'll feel the vibe, you'll understand. So don't take everything that I say like fully, all right, I'm going to do this. You'll feel the vibe, so you'll know if they would feel comfortable, you already having clients. But if I'm a salon owner and you tell me that you already have a clientele and you might even bring some of that clientele there, now you have 70-80% over what any other person that applies there has. Because most people would never think to even mention that, right? Because you come as a self-employed pretty much, that already has client. Now, you're not saying that, hey, I bring 1,000 clients, but you can say, hey, I have a client, I have a client base of, you can even print a PDF with the list of, let's say, not full names, maybe just first name, and then you show, hey, so typically I do, don't mention prices, obviously, but I do this kind of service. I have about 30 constant returners that are coming every, once every 3 weeks or once every month or whatever. But that's when you get face-to-face with them. Typically, first you have to kind of break the barrier. So how do you differentiate yourself? You can apply on Indeed, it's fine. But the one thing, I can't remember exactly, it's been a couple of years when I learned this, is one, how do you feel with video? You comfortable on camera, talking, saying? No? Well, you have to. You have to in order to, and again, at first, you don't necessarily have to be on camera. Typically what people are afraid of or feel uncomfortable, because it feels awkward to look at the camera, right? Like, we've been recording for the last 20 minutes. I haven't looked at the camera once, right? So take the same approach. Print, go to chat. You familiar with ChatGPT, I'm assuming?
ChatGPT?
Yeah.
No, I've never used it, but I know
it's cool. You never used it for like any summary of any
for like plagiarizing work? Something? You mean? Not
necessarily. No, to learn. Like, for example, let's say you have.
Short answer, no, because too many people in my high school did, and I didn't have the chance to. No, but like too many kids would plagiarize off of ChatGPT, so then teachers learned about what it was.
You're thinking of it wrong. You can do with ChatGPT
so many things,
a million percent more than what you think.
On my descriptions, on my posts, everything.
Not even that.
Really?
You can think of like, I give this example all the time. Let's say it's 8 p.m. and I suddenly feel hungry and I don't like or like it's nothing to eat on a diet or whatever.
So you're gonna ask Chat?
No. Listen. I open the fridge. I take a picture of the fridge. I upload it to ChatGPT and I say, I'm on a high protein, low carb, low fat diet.
Oh my God.
Inspect the photo that I uploaded and give me 5 different recipes that I can cook right now without using the oven, so I can quickly eat.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Now put that in the business or in the job application. I'm applying. I'm currently a part-time hairstylist, and I'm applying for a hairstylist slash lash tech job. Give me 10 ways that I can differentiate myself from all the other competitors, and then you give an example. Me recording a video explaining that I already have a client base. Then you have your portfolio with you, or upload it to a Google Drive. And on top of that, and the third tip would be contact the salon Instagram page.
Okay.
On Instagram, obviously, and you start a conversation there, mentioning that you applied on Indeed. But the trick is, you have to have an account optimized solely for the job that you're applying, because the the person that's handling the account, and typically is the owner, right? And none of these salons are like huge businesses. Like it's, let's say up to like 5-6 employees or whatever, or maybe less. So sometimes more. Even at that point, the owner is typically the person handling the Instagram, because it's the main kind of client generator. When the person sees your message, what do? They'll click on your profile to see who's the person, right? So they should see a photo with you, because eventually you'll have to go in person and meet them. 2, they should see some type of portfolio before and after work that you've done.
Okay.
And ideally a video testimonial from 1 or 2 of your clients.
Okay.
You only need 9 posts. You don't need more than 9. Why? Because you don't want to make them scroll. When they click on your profile, Instagram shows you the last 9 posts. Those 9 posts should have what I said split in 3.
Okay.
Whatever you want. 3 before and afters, 3 photos with you maybe doing hair. I'm assuming some photos from the class. You're gonna have a photo with the diploma at the end. Boom, like right there is like all together. Now you just need a testimonial. You call a couple of your former clients or active clients.
Yeah.
Ask for a video testimonial. Tell them, hey, next time you come in, you'll get a $10 discount if you do that, because you only need 2.
Yeah.
Cosmina's actual lash business was built on 2 video testimonials. Those 2, we start running them as ads on Facebook. We did a Facebook ad first. Instagram was kind of hitting, but it was hitting for a while worse than Facebook from a percentage. And the reason for that is, when we talked about who's the ideal avatar, right? That's why I asked you, who's the ideal avatar for you? Lashes are not cheap, right?
No.
Let's assume $200 for a set. To make the numbers easy, 120, 150, or let's say 100 for the refill. That's $300 just for a first-time application and the first 2 weeks of. So in a month, that person will pay $400. Right, 200 for the first time, 2 refills, it's $400 to make the numbers easy. On average, if you do a decent job, people would stay anywhere from 7 to 10 months without stopping, and then some of them will stop for various reasons. They might need to travel down south. They might need to take a break to give the natural lashes some time to heal. All kinds of different things, different travels. They might move out of state or out of city, and then some of them eventually will come back. Some of them, is just the price you pay in business. Some of them will not come back, right? But if you do a decent job and they'll stay for 10 months, that person will pay anywhere from $3,000 to $4,000 in just 10 months.
Yeah.
Right?
Crazy.
Somebody to afford to pay $4,000 in 10 months just for lashes alone. You're not putting like all the things that most people pay for, like lotions or whatever, and aftercare and skincare and all that. $4,000 just for that.
Plus the life necessities like rent and utilities and life and.
Exactly. So that makes the service a luxury, and it makes you understand that you need a client that makes at least $65K plus to afford something like this.
Mm-hmm.
Now you reverse engineer. All right, if that person makes that amount, it'll put her in a couple different industries. So, for example, I remember when we did this exercise with Kuzmina, we said, your ideal client, it's Jenny. She lives in Winchester. She works at a bank / real estate, because we said she also invests in some real estate part-time. She makes roughly around 75 to 90K a year because she has some rental income. She has a husband and 2 kids, and she lives in Winchester, right? So think about in your case now, because you shared already the prices that you do right now. I would challenge you to think who's the, because right now you're not necessarily working with your ideal client. You're working with the beginner clientele base. So now you
That
kind
is
of,
partially my ideal client, though. I want to be working on like special occasion hair and hair wise.
all right, then we have to work on your pricing so you can actually make your time work, because it's going to be hard. Right, there's only two ways pretty much that you can either get more clients.
Can I just give you one reason I haven't changed my prices?
Yeah.
My tips are usually like incredible for what I'm doing.
Give me a number.
I don't.
Give me the highest tip.
Oh, I usually get like 70 to 100% of the service fee as a tip fee. Because when I do people, I'm not doing one person at a time. Like I'll go, like usually I'll do like wedding parties and I'll do all the bridesmaids' hair. So
how many at a time? 6?
The most I've ever done at one time was 11.
Okay, and you charged.
And
how
it
much for one?
was $50 per person. And then each person was individually giving me tips.
Right. I'm not saying that it's wrong that you started doing it that way. My challenge for you is the fact that if they go to a salon and if they have to pay $200, what did you do? You went to them.
Yep.
So you, it's a premium service because you travel to them, right? They don't even have to leave home to the salon.
But also,
and I know most people do that.
My other thing is like most of my clientele I do know. Like it's not just random people. Like the bridesmaid at 11 party was like my cousin's best friend. So like I sort of knew them. The other thing
I get
the
that
money
too.
for me is not why I'm in this, and like I understand.
Stop for a second. If you plan to be a business owner, numbers have to make sense. Right now, and I'll give you an example of one of my biggest mistakes in business. And it wasn't necessarily pricing. When you are doing it at this level in terms of how many a month? Give me a number a month. How many clients like these you have a month?
God, like
10?
I try like
20?
15 to 20.
15 to 20. Okay. When you have that amount, charging this low allows you to still have an error, a margin of error. Multiply that by 10, because if you want to do it full time and you don't want to have a side job at the restaurant, and you want to actually self-sustain the actual business, you're going to have business expenses. It's going to be insurance in place. You're going to have to pay rent. I'm assuming right now you do it from home?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you don't have to pay necessarily rent for a space to do it, right? Then you're going to have some utilities. All that margin of error disappears. My first year in business with the first company, we did 120K. Second year, we did 1,300,000. So we more than 10x it. But it was the biggest mistake that I've done because we scaled so fast. We did not have what I'm saying. We did not have, so we started hiring people for more money that some of the competitors were paying these guys. But the problem was now, instead of having one truck, we went from like no truck to 6 trucks, insurance 6 times the price. Diesel prices and all that, we didn't realize, all right, well, one truck, you don't feel it as much. Times 6, oh boy, you start to feel it.
Mm-hmm.
All these guys, we started paying more because we wanted to differentiate ourselves from competitors that were paying the employees so low. All that stuff, all these little mistakes, it was no room for error for us because we did not increase the prices that we were charging for clients. So all the stuff that was eating up directly into the profit. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the lesson that I'm saying. I'm not saying that, and I've been in your shoes, not doing this service, but I've been, having friends like, hey, bro, I know you have a moving company. Can you help me? Or do you have 2 guys to send me? Oh, yeah, that's fine. Just pay the guys. I'm not charging, it's my friend.
Yeah.
Well, truck comes back. I have to fill it up, right?
I don't do it because it's friends, though. I just do it because that's what I...
No, but what I'm saying is if you want it, like the business of its own, it's its own entity. If you want to just keep it a side hustle, it's fine. Do your thing, charge low, get the tips, it's cash, like, right? Nobody cares. When you start doing like full time, you're gonna have to declare some of that income to um, to your taxes,
Yeah.
and you will want to declare more. Like at first, I know you think, oh, like the less amount I declare, because you go from being employed pretty much to a business owner, and it's a completely foreign language. It's a completely foreign environment.
Okay.
You don't know, oh, why should I declare more? Well, because the bank will look at that, and then next year, if you need a line of credit to maybe invest in some bigger space, the first thing they're gonna ask you is for taxes. If all the stuff that you do and all the expenses you buried just so you pay less because you don't make enough profit because you charge, right? Like
Yeah.
all, it's one step leading to another, and because of that, like the business, again, the business of its own, it's its own entity. It has to self-sustain it regardless of your personal decisions, right? However, the business can only grow to the business owner's level, wants, and ability to see through all the personal stuff.
Yeah.
That's my point. I'm not saying again that you're doing wrong, that you charge less or whatever. It's just, it is a big difference from doing it full time and deciding, right, I want to go full force, I want to go kill it, regardless if it's this or hair or both, right? Doesn't matter what lane you take it. And now going back to the main, do you have any questions about that process? Because again, I know you gave me some valid points, but I rebutted with some more valid points because I've been in your shoes from the standpoint of treating it as a side hustle, and then once I realized like, oh crap, it's like 20 employees and in your case won't even be employees. It'll be just, and on the other side, you don't even want to have, because I started saying, there's two ways that you can make more money. You either get more customers or make the current customers pay more.
Yeah.
To a certain point, you'll be fine just adding more in your calendar, but eventually you'll burn out because it'll be just like constant, when at first, when you work with people that it's one thing because you don't have to sell, they pretty much come sold. If your cousin calls 6 people and they recommend your services, you don't have to sell. It's referrals come sold.
I hate to be contradictory, but like I've never burnt out. Like I literally I've been right now.
But you've been doing it for 6 months.
Hours.
But you've been doing it for 6 months.
I haven't burnt out, but no, but in other things in life, I've been doing musical theater for 12 years and have yet to get burnt out from that. And I do that monthly, every single month I'm in a shop.
Right, but you're getting paid for that?
No.
You're doing it as a full business?
No, that's fine.
Exactly. No. When you do something that you like as a hobby, it's one thing. But when you have to translate it...
It's taking the time of a full-time job.
Yes, but you're doing it because you like it. You don't go... meaning you choose to go there because you want to. It's your pleasure. It's probably bringing you peace and you enjoy it.
To be fair, I started lashes because I enjoyed lashes. So shouldn't you love what you do?
Yes.
And then in turn not get burnt out?
Exactly. However, when you translate those skills into a full-time business, it changes the ability to just look at it as, oh, I do it because I love it. But if you don't charge properly for the business to self-sustain itself, and then, right, so the business of its own, like the business, it's its own entity from a legal standpoint, but also from a just standpoint of understanding how to look at these things. So it's the business, the LLC, and then it's you as the person.
Yeah.
The business has to charge enough to cover all expenses, absolutely all the expenses at the end of the year, and then have enough profit to, well, of course, from there you have to pay taxes and all that. But then from there, whatever the margins are, 10, 20, 30%, but that amount that's left, it has to self-sustain you as the person to be considered a full-time business owner. Okay. If you continue doing it as oh, I want to do it because I like it and I love it, and then I do it with people that I know, so I cannot charge them full price. It's fine. It's just you call it a hobby.
Okay.
You don't call it a full business, a full-time business. That's the only difference. And the fact that you have to look at it that at scaling it to become a full. Maybe you don't want it to become a full-time business. That's fine too. Again, it's not a right or wrong. It's what's right for you at the current time
Okay.
when we talk about it. But if you decide I want this to be a full-time business, then all these things do not apply the same way as you apply it to a hobby. That's what I want you to understand. And I'm not saying that you're burning out in the first month or two or maybe 10 years, right? If you doing it, it's very important the fact that you like doing it. You'll be over 80% of the people that are doing it because they have to, right? I remember when Cosmina told me the first time, oh no, I every time when I do lashes, it's quiet. Client goes to sleep. I feel so peaceful, and I'm like, you have no idea how lucky you are, and how grateful you should be just because it gives you that feeling, right? On top of that, you're also profitable. Fuck me, I mean, it's the best thing in the world, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. It's not something that you have to think of like, oh, I have to do it this way. It's a line that once you cross over, you just have to think of, all right, if I continue doing it this way, what am I being required to do it so I can pay rent? Like right now, you don't pay rent. If you rent a space, and we talked to the student who's gonna have last week. She said she found 2 spots, one $650 a month, one's $1,000 a month, right? Well, now you have to take that into consideration.
Yeah.
With this amount, with the amount that you charge right now, what do you need to do in order to make rent? Well, I need an extra 40 clients or whatever, extra, let's say, make the numbers easy, let's say charge 50. So I need at least an extra 25 people to make the $1,000 in rent because, some of them might not show up or whatever. 25 appointments, right? But if you can do it smarter and charge double and only get 12 extra clients, what's wrong with that? Or just get 25 clients, still charge them double. Now you make rent and you have money to pay for Google ads and Instagram ads to get more clients, right? So then this also starts to kind of blend into a different part of the business. When people are recommending you clients, you don't have to use your sales hat as much. When people find out about you online, normally they need roughly 7 to 10 touch points. What does that mean? They see an ad, maybe they like the post, that's 2. They saw the ad, they like the post, 2 touch points.
Yeah.
They DM you, you DM them back, it's 4 touch points. But now you have to talk. They say, I need to call you. All right, call me. Or you call them, whatever. You start talking to them over the phone. All right, I've never had hair, I never had lashes in my life, right? Now you really have to keep that sales hat on and explain, because you're going to have 3 different types of clients. You're going to have clients that have never had lashes before. So you have to explain them what's the benefit of saving time. They don't have to wear mascara and all that stuff. All these things.
Every single thing that you did in the beginning is making sense now. All your marketing terms and everything. Yeah,
We did the same. You
think
found
about-
me, Google.
Yeah, I found you on Google, and then I texted you, and then you asked me to call, and then we
And then I
talked,
called you.
and then you were like, "Oh, where did you find me?" And yeah, okay,
Oh, you know how I know it works?
because she was.
You're
Because
standing
you're
there.
here.
Ah, okay, I get it. So, do you have a background in marketing? And
No,
business?
I have a background in of 10 years of actually doing marketing for not 10, 8 years. So the whole reason that I just got passionate about it, well, because I was mad, because I hired 3 different agencies that just screwed me over and charged me, and they showed me a chart of 5,000 clicks, but it was no phone calls. And like, you motherfucker, like I don't care about you showing me clicks. Show
I
me
need the phone
lead.
call.
I need the phone to ring so I can sell.
Mm-hmm.
I got no. And then I realized, I mean, these fuckers can just show me whatever they want, and I would never be able to understand because I know nothing about this world. So I said, all right, I'm not doing this anymore. And then I started to actually buy courses and look into it. And then we had a little bit of an immigration issue that we had to travel back to Romania, where we were originally from,
Mm-hmm.
for like 6 or 7 months. And at that point, I was able, like, I was removed completely from the business. I had my business partner that was dealing with all the operations. And I was able to, those 6, 7 months, I took every course, spent over, I don't know, probably more than $10,000, $15,000 just courses online. And I learned everything about Google, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and all the other stuff, right? So that's how I sales funnels and everything in between. So, and then from there, I applied it, grew the company even more. Then we started the cleaning company, sold that. And then slowly, actually, when we came back from Romania, a lot of guys that I knew started to ask me, like, dude, what the fuck happened? You were gone for 7 months and then your business grew. Like, you have to show us. There were some contractors. I didn't even call it coaching or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's my background. I did go to school back home for marketing, but it's like zero, nothing that I learned there applies.
Okay.
So what was the thing that clicked the most in what I said so far?
The touch points.
Touch points? Yeah. So a touch point can be an online touch point or a phone call, or because we not even to this day has people that come to the door, knock on the door, and
Yeah,
say,
someone came during my model now.
Yeah.
So.
Ask about the training. No, but then people that come and knock at the door and ask, okay, can I ask you questions about well, you have to schedule a time to.
Yeah.
But that's a foot traffic type of touch points.
Mm-hmm.
And then talking about foot traffic, you can see how, like, doesn't matter that Dunkin' Donuts is next door and more than 1,000 people every day stop by.
Yeah.
Probably have one customers in 5 years since we were here. Is that maybe 2?
Yeah.
Right? Wrong foot traffic.
Yeah.
That's the same way that happens online if you run the wrong campaign, or if you run the right campaign to the wrong type of people.
Okay.
So that's where the customer avatar comes in place, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I said, well, the reason that we choose Jenny, she was 40 years old, living in
Melrose.
Winchester. You remember?
Yeah.
Winchester. Oh, you do?
Yeah.
I sold a house in Melrose last year.
Yep.
You told
We talked about it. We talked about everything.
So going back to the avatar, it's important to know, because you're at the stage now where you mostly work with referrals, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it comes a time when you will have, again, let's assume you want this to become a full-time thing. And this, let's assume we talk about lashes. Let's don't even talk about hair, right? It comes a point where you'll say, well, I want to charge a little more. When is the right time to raise your prices? When you're actually booked up. You cannot just out of the blue, boom, charge what the most luxurious salon in Boston charges, right?
Yeah.
It's always a debate, right? One, how comfortable and confident you are in your ability to provide a great service, number one. And then again, at first, you might need to do a few sets for, and it's great that you already have a client base, because some of them, some of them might say yes. I'm not saying that all of them all of them want to. Oh, really? That's what's up. That's actually
because
pretty
it's
good.
crazy. Because yesterday my model for today woke up with pink eye, and I had another one ready to go. So
that doesn't happen too often. Typically, you have models.
Going to cosmetology school, all of my friends are cosmetologists, so they understand getting new to something and wanting to practice.
Mm-hmm.
My friends are more than happy to be pretty with my practice.
That's what's up. No, congrats. That's actually a really big thing. So you'll probably be up and running. I don't know. Maybe you need a few sets. I mean, you said you've been doing a really great job the last couple of days. So once you feel confident and comfortable doing, it's a little market research that you have to do. Where do you live? Melrose. Pretty good area. If you plan, again, I talked about this last week with another student. She's already been doing skincare and some other services from home, and she was kind of feeling like, I don't know if I can attract the same clients. And I said, look, there will always be some people that will say no coming to your living room, but not too many. They won't say no just because.
I've never had anyone say no.
Yeah, exactly.
People are usually in my bedroom too, is the thing. It's not even the living room. I'll have them in my bedroom. It's so big. I don't care. My parents care,
especially if you.
Yeah.
So what I'm getting to most of the times, and I want to make sure we're on the same page. I mainly talk about when you start getting clients online, not the current. Obviously, you have built great trust with the current clientele that you already have, right? So that's one. That's great.
Yeah.
Two, that's gonna be perfect because you're gonna start getting testimonials like quick. Even if you do a set for free, ask them for a 5-star testimonial. Do you have a Google page already? Or no. You need that.
Okay.
Google Maps listing for this kind of business, it's more important than an Instagram page.
Okay.
At least at the beginning. Why? When you need any kind of service, let's assume you don't know somebody. You go to Google. I mean,
Like you.
You went to Google, but you searched for lash trainer. Why didn't you go to YouTube, right? Why didn't you go to Pinterest,
Instagram.
right? Instagram. Well, recently, Instagram, I showed you on a lot of new videos, they start to understand what the video is about, and they create an AI question topic. Insane. Like, I've seen it in the last 3 weeks. Crazy powerful. However, I don't want to complicate this too much. The 3 platforms that you will need to get started as a lash tech, and this was the exact same conversation that I had with the last week's student, because she was doing esthetician services. And
I saw her Instagram. It was pretty
yeah, and she does a great job with. Well, her thing was all her videos were in Spanish, and I asked, "Are you trying to attract a Spanish based clientele?" And she was like, "No, I want to attract an American clientele." And I'm like, "Well, guess what? You're gonna have to do your videos in English, or at least do the captions in English at first until." But her English was completely fine for videos. It's just she felt. No, she's surrounded by a Spanish community that just always throws rocks at her, like, "Oh, well, now you're gonna talk in English," and what? Like it's the worst. It's the worst to be so. Yeah, like a lot of times, people, you have all your friends from high school or college or whatever on Instagram. You follow each other on Instagram and Facebook, and if you post something, you're afraid that they'll see it, and then now they're making fun of you or whatever. It's like once you become and you want to do this full time, all your socials become business.
Yeah.
It's just like there's no other way around it. Like, because one, it's the biggest billboard and it's for free. You post something and it's free.
Yeah.
Right? Now, some of the videos will do well, some of them won't. But the ones that will do well, that's an indication that the platform understood what the video is about and they know who to put it in front of. And that's the video that you want to click boost or to run an actual advertising campaign. Both Facebook and Instagram. Now, Facebook, if your ideal client is 35 plus, if it's 30, if it's below 30 years old, it's one of those things. You should still integrate a Facebook page with the Instagram account, because once you post something on Instagram, it automatically posts on Facebook. So why not? I mean, it's free traffic. At the end of the day, you want as much free traffic as you can get first. But the 3 platforms that you need is you need a Google Maps. You can write it down, or the video will be sent to you. The Google Maps page or listing. It used to be called Google My Business Profile. They change it every year. Now I just make things easy for everybody, and I call it the Google Maps listing. When you see a business listed on Google Maps, that's what I'm talking about. You need a Gmail account, as old as possible, ideally.
I've got one from 2012.
It's gonna get approved most likely on the spot. Now, optimize the hell out of that. What do I mean? The name has to match the name of your Instagram account, and it has to match the Facebook page, which is obvious. Facebook should be, when I'm saying Facebook page, it's not your Facebook profile, it's the Facebook business page, a Facebook fan page, whatever it used to be called. How old are you?
20.
Probably don't even use Facebook, right? Do you? But again,
I have
here,
it, but it just
yeah, I mean the profile, it's not necessarily. I'm not referring to the profile. I'm referring to the create within the profile the actual fan page that you just integrate with the Instagram account. And the reason, and I go back to, it's not what you like to use on a daily basis. It's where your clients are hanging out, right? That's what I said. If it's 30 plus, they definitely use some Facebook groups, all kinds of different other Facebook avenues. Yeah. If it's below 30, it's Instagram and TikTok. And actually TikTok now, it's crazy. It's not just Gen Z. It's all the way to like 50 to almost all the way to Gen Z to 6 years old.
Yep.
Everybody's using TikTok. But for TikTok, you need, and I know you can post photos, but you do need videos for TikTok to make sense. Now, the beauty of all of these is the fact that you record one time, you edit, and pretty much with the, so you can write 3 apps. I don't know if you use them. CapCut for
CapCut.
Yeah, for video editing, which is TikTok's. It's owned by TikTok.
I use iMovie usually.
It doesn't matter, like editing. I'm just saying that CapCut has a lot of AI editing, meaning you recognize, it puts automatically the captions. You don't have to write nothing. Then you might have to correct few keywords. Yeah, it automatically identifies and cuts all the uhs and uhs. Dead space automatically cut in there. It's a lot of AI. Like it saves time. Like anything that we can do to save time, like no point to spend our own time. The other app that I love, it's called Captions, which in my opinion can be named that. It's not just captions. It's a lot more than just captions. It's a lot easier than CapCut, and these are just apps on the phone. CapCut has a desktop version as well, which is even more powerful. Captions is trash on the desktop, but on the phone, my God, in my opinion, it's more powerful than CapCut.
Okay.
For short video, a minute less, up to a minute and a half. These are fine for editing videos. And then Canva, I'm assuming you use Canva. But Canva has...
I had a feeling you were going to say Canva.
Yeah, and Canva has a lot more than just typical design. You can do everything from thumbnails to your logo to now it has to share my virtual assistant that edits most of the videos that you see. He was doing some thumbnails and it was that white flower or whatever in the background, and it was blending with my head. And Canva has a thing, after you remove the background, it's called AI erase, and you just click on the object that you want to remove it directly, and it automatically recognizes the object and it cuts it out. So I can take a picture right here, and if I want to remove you from it, it will fill the space to make it look with what's behind it, to make it look like, all right, you weren't there, so it wouldn't. It's crazy. Like it's so these platforms are enough to get started, but the most important things are, like I said, Google Maps, this thing, Instagram to make it a business account and integrate it with the Facebook business page. And going back to Instagram now, I would say you have to decide if you plan to do both, meaning lashes and hair. You should change. I haven't seen your Instagram account, but you should change your. What's the name of it?
It is Nick Beauty.
Oh, actually, no underscores in the username and all that.
It's literally the same exact thing as my main Instagram, but with beauty at the end of it. That's
so no underscore and dots.
No, there's just dots in between each name.
I'm assuming because he wasn't available to have the regular one. So
I tried every single thing under the sun too. I even misspelled my name and tried to do it, and it just went.
Like no K, whatever.
No, I tried doing NICK, but no.
Still no.
No.
What about you put D in first, in front?
I didn't try any random letters. I tried numbers.
Put it this way. Tell ChatGPT, my current Instagram account is nick.beauty.
Yeah.
I would like to have it without any kind of dots or grammar things. Come up with 10 to 20 different combinations of my name and the word beauty, and let me know which one is available. And it'll give you, maybe not, depends how many times you can combine two words to make it, give it, maybe don't make it as specific, let it think of its own. Maybe it comes up with something that it's, so in this case, I don't necessarily think you will have to change it. The student last week, she had it really optimized for facials and esthetician. And I said, if you want to do lashes too, you have to rebrand it into your personal name and make it a personal brand, right? The reason for that is if you plan in the future to ever add another service within the beauty space, you can do it without pivoting too much. Now, if you plan to sell real estate, you have to start a new one, right? But if you plan to add, let's say, Botox or eyebrows or whatever other services, you can just continue doing content. And just start blending that content into your content strategy that is currently, and there's nothing to worry about it there. Now, from an SEO perspective, are you familiar with search engine optimization and all that? No. So, Google Maps, right? When you search lash train, what do you remember? What you searched exactly? Lash class,
lash schools in my area.
Lash schools. That's a first, but I've seen the keyword in the campaign, but I've never heard too many people saying that they search for lash school. Typically, we hear lash training classes. Lash training classes is that I think you got like over 1,000 searches last month that you were number one for.
Good job, Cosmina. You get it, girl.
Yes.
That was actually ads. The ads that we run on Google Maps, because you have the SEO, which is search engine optimization, which is the organic. And when I said optimize the hell out of that, I said, match your Instagram name, not username. Name, the same one you put on Google. But then you look at some competitors and see what they have in the description of their, right?
Yeah.
And then you can even copy that, you paste it in ChatGPT and tell it, rewrite this description for my Google business account. You can even give your Instagram URL to ChatGPT to inspect what you have on your Instagram account.
Okay.
Tell it the fact that you are both a lash tech and a hairstylist, and then ChatGPT will rewrite, a little bit of a description for Google Maps, which the same description you can use on. And once you are done, so when I say optimizing, meaning name of the business, description, start date, put it January 1st, or no, put whatever date you started the other business. Photos, as many photos as you have, before and after, photos with products, photos with you. I'm assuming you have some photos at these weddings, right? And from the back, right? If you have time and you post them from your laptop, because it makes a big difference, what's the name of the file? Like the photo that you post. On your phone, it's a little harder to change the name. Not harder, but it just takes a little more time. On a laptop, you can easily just right-click it, change the name into what you would search as a client.
Okay.
Right? You can also ask ChatGPT, what are the top 30 searches around hairstylist and lash tech, 10 miles around Melrose. It'll give you those 10, 20, or top 30. And those 30, you save them into a notes file. And every time you have a new photo, you just rename it though. Of course, if you have a photo doing hair, you're not going to name it lash services, right? You get the point. So by doing that, you're going to tell Google, when you post that photo on Google Maps, you tell Google that the photo is about lash services. The photo is about hair service, right? And also even like if you, let's say you only want to do those two services that you mentioned, focus on those two services And even sometimes you can even put, maybe you shouldn't put Boston in there. You shouldn't put Melrose in the file. You should put Boston because Boston is the main. If somebody searches for hairstylist, probably won't search for Melrose
No.
hairstylist, right? They'll search for hairstylist in Boston, best hairstylist in Boston,
Yeah.
or in the Boston area, whatever. So you save those 30. I think Victor is here, but we're pretty much just grab. So you give him my car, and then you just have those photos saved. You can upload the photo again a week later. Trust me, nobody knows. Just change one time you upload the same photo with the city in the title.
Mm-hmm.
One time you delete the more photos you have, the more combinations you have. It's Google Maps has the feed the same way that Instagram has it, and the more data you give it, the more Google knows. Yeah, the more Google knows when somebody searches for those kind of keywords, they push you in the results. Now, that's business is a pay-to-play game. It's exactly what I'm saying. It's a pay-to-play. You either pay with time or you pay with money. What I mean by that is, if you have some budget, but my point is, the moment you should think of running an ad campaign as you have a light switch that you just turn on and off.
Okay.
You need clients, you should be able to boom, just turn it on. You're full, pause it. You leave everything the same way, like the campaign, you don't touch it, you just pause it when you're full, right? That's how you should think of. So when you combine running ads on Google, you run ads for keywords that people are searching for, and Google lately made it really, really easy and automated. Especially if you upload some photos and the description is properly, they already know what the account is about, so they'll recommend you keywords to run the campaign with.
Okay.
So if you combine, let's say you spend at first $10 a day on Google, $300 a month, right? And then you run a campaign on Instagram. At first you can boost. So let's say you have a video. I guarantee you that if you look now through your posts, you have 2 or 3 that outperforms all of them, right? Do you have videos or mostly photos?
I have nothing.
No posts on Instagram?
No.
Oh, okay.
On my personal or my business?
No, I'm talking about business.
Oh,
We're talking about business.
nothing.
All right, so
I mainly post stories on there.
you have to, stories are good for connecting with the current audience that you have, meaning followers and whatnot. But in order to get in front of new people, you need posts, right? These can be reels you don't have to be in the video. You can record, you can put you familiar with B-roll means? So A-roll is the video that records me now. B-roll is, I can put that on slow motion and just put a quote on top of it. So now it becomes a B-roll because it's not an A-roll, like it's not actually picking up what I'm saying. You can record yourself doing a hair set, and then at the end you do a voiceover.
Okay.
Right, with what type of technique you use or what service it is and why you choose to do that. Let's say you have a wedding and you do 5, 6 people at once. You put your phone on a tripod, recording it. You get one of these. Well, if you don't want to talk while you work, because sometimes that may interfere with how you're doing it, especially at first. You don't have to wear a mic, but then you go in CapCut at the end. You make a video that's probably 2 hours, and you turn it into a video that's 3 minutes, and then you do a voiceover. Kill them, right? You don't have to overthink it too much. When you do lashes, you put the phone on top on a tripod that records yourself practicing on a mannequin. You don't have to say nothing then.
Yeah.
But then you go back to CapCut or captions and do a voiceover.
Okay.
Right? Like, you don't have to overthink it too much. You'll have a bunch of photos from just these couple days. Use those as, some of the photos on the account.
Okay.
And then eventually, when you're ready to start getting some clients, you can boost one of them. When you boost, you need to make sure you have a call to action always. Because again, remember, you'll have to learn. So you're gonna have to wear a marketing hat when you do these campaigns, right? You have to think of, when you post something, always have this phrase in mind. What's in it for me? That's what the customer says. Why should I look at that photo? What's in it for me as a client, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times we overthink this shit and we want to make sure that, oh, I need to make sure my hair looks right, shaved properly, whatever, like all these things. But then if you don't give enough value to what the client needs at the end of the day, the post is useless.
Okay.
Right? Like nobody,
Yeah.
like the two types of posts that you should be focusing on is one, value building post, meaning you give them advice on aftercare, and even for hair, it's the same thing, right?
Mhm.
Like how do you maintain your hair after you get home? And then second can be actual footage before and after, like legit you in action, nothing
Okay.
that you buy online, photos and none of that. Like that shit worked in 2001, right? Nobody
to know.
wants to. Nobody wants to see stuff that it's not you. Like they want to see who's behind
The
the
camera.
account, who's behind the person that actually does the service, right? Show your personality in the video. At first, it might feel awkward, and it should feel because you've never done it before.
Mhm.
Anything that's new should put you a little bit in an uncomfortable state. When you're in an uncomfortable state, that means you're doing something to grow. So it's just a matter of the same way, like it took you some practice to do hair properly.
Yep.
It'll take you some practice to do lashes. Why do you think it's different when you do videos? It's the same. It's the same exact
Everything
thing.
in life is
It'll
that way.
take practice to get better.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much on a 30,000 foot overview, I guess. But the one thing that I need to make sure is when to take different hats on and off.
Mm-hmm.
So when you record content or when you actually produce it, always think, what does this bring in to my client, right? It doesn't matter if it's hair or lashes.
Mm-hmm.
Then you put the sales hat on when you take a phone call, when you respond to a DM, when somebody's asking you questions in the post about your, and then when you are providing the actual service, then you put the lash tag, the hairstylist hat on, but then you also have to sometimes switch to put the sales hat back to book a refill.
Yeah.
Again, I'm talking mainly about the people that they'll come from online, not about the people that you already have, because you'll notice when you start getting leads online, you have to put a lot more effort to sell them into why you're the best, why they should do it with you and not a competitor. Because and it's the other thing is when you searched for lash trainers, did you call anybody else?
I called 2 people. One
Okay.
person caused me to actually train, and then another one was just some random lady that never got back to me. So
That was my next point. You need to make sure you take the call, have a professional voicemail set up.
Mhm.
If somebody's not, or if you're in the middle of a set or whatever service, and you're not able to call, tell them in the voicemail to text you. A lot of people have no idea that the same phone number, it's actually a text number. People still think that we are in 1998.